Listen closely. This message did not find you by chance. Something guided you here, gently, deliberately, at the exact moment your heart needed it most. You may not even know what you are searching for, but heaven knows exactly what you have been carrying. There is a quiet weight in your chest that no one sees, a tiredness that sleep does not fix, a question you keep asking in silence. And tonight, this message answers it. You have been wondering if your faith has weakened. It has not. You have been wondering if you disappointed God. You have not. You have been wondering why your prayers feel unanswered. They are not ignored. They are being prepared. There is a season in your life where noise increases, but clarity comes only in stillness. This is that season. Right now, your soul is being trained to trust without proof, to believe without signs, to stand without applause. That is not abandonment. That is elevation. Heaven sees what you have endured quietly. The moments you stayed kind when it would have been easier to become hard. The nights you held yourself together when no one checked on you. The prayers you whispered when your voice was tired. None of it was wasted. Not one tear. Not one delay. Not one closed door. There are things you asked God to remove, but instead, He strengthened you to carry them. There are things you begged to end, but instead, He taught you how to rise while they remained. This was not punishment. This was preparation. Right now, angels are not asking you to do more. They are asking you to breathe, to stop blaming yourself for things that were never yours to fix, to release the pressure of trying to control outcomes that were never in your hands. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time. This moment in your life feels important because it is. Heaven does not rush seasons. Growth happens in layers, quietly, invisibly, until one day everything changes at once. You are closer than you think. Closer to peace. Closer to clarity. Closer to a breakthrough that does not arrive with noise, but with calm. There is a reason your heart has been drawn back to faith. A reason gratitude keeps returning to your thoughts even when circumstances are heavy. A reason trust feels difficult but necessary. God is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking you to remember who has carried you through everything before this. Think back. There were moments you thought would break you. They did not. There were situations you thought you would never escape. You did. There were tears you thought would never stop. They did. That same presence is with you now. The same guidance. The same protection. The same love. Nothing about your life is random. Even the delays are aligned. Even the silence has purpose. Even the waiting is shaping something strong within you. This message is a reminder. You are not walking alone. You have never been walking alone. Every time you felt comforted without explanation, that was heaven near. Every time your heart calmed suddenly, that was reassurance. Every time you felt a quiet push to keep going, that was guidance. This season is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to restore you. Not by giving you everything at once, but by teaching you how to trust one step at a time. Faith is not loud. It is steady. Gratitude is not forced. It is chosen. Trust is not blind. It is learned through experience. And you have more experience with God's faithfulness than you realize. Right now, heaven is asking you to release fear disguised as responsibility, to stop carrying worries that belong to tomorrow, to let peace enter before answers arrive. Because peace is not the reward. Peace is the path. Stay with this message. Something deeper is unfolding. What comes next will calm you even more. And what you are about to realize will change how you see this entire season of your life. Stay here. Do not rush this moment. There is something being revealed now that most people never notice, even when it is happening right inside their lives. What you are feeling lately is not confusion. It is alignment. When God begins to realign a life, everything that once felt stable starts to feel uncertain. Not because you are losing direction, but because you are being redirected. This is why familiar things no longer satisfy you. Why conversations feel shallow. Why noise feels heavier than silence. Why your heart keeps searching for something deeper, even when everything looks fine on the surface. This is not restlessness. This is awakening. There is a truth that angels want you to understand clearly. Your current struggles are not signs of weakness. They are signs of growth. You have outgrown old versions of yourself, and your soul knows it, even if your mind is still adjusting. That is why this season feels intense. Heaven does not upgrade comfort first. It upgrades capacity. Right now, your capacity for faith is being stretched. Your ability to trust is being strengthened. Your patience is being refined. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. But nothing sacred is formed in comfort alone. There is something shocking about this season that most people never realize. The delay you dislike is actually protecting you. If certain things had happened when you begged for them, they would have broken you instead of blessing you. If certain doors had opened earlier, you would have walked into them unprepared. God did not say no. He said not yet, because He cares too much to give you something before you are ready to carry it. This is why gratitude matters now more than ever. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is forming. Trust shifts your fear into surrender. Faith shifts your waiting into worship, even when you do not have words. You are not meant to understand every step. You are meant to trust the one guiding them. There is a presence around you that has been steady even when your emotions were not. A calm that returns unexpectedly. A thought that reminds you to keep going. A peace that appears in the middle of uncertainty. That is not coincidence. That is guidance. Heaven is closer than you think. Not watching from a distance. Not testing you for failure, but walking with you through every uncertain moment. You are being taught something powerful right now. How to stay grounded without guarantees. How to remain kind without validation. How to believe even when answers are quiet. This is rare. Most people run from this stage. You stayed. And because you stayed, your life will not look the same after this season passes. Something within you is becoming unshakable. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply rooted. A faith that does not depend on circumstances. A trust that does not collapse under pressure. A gratitude that exists even before blessings arrive. This is the kind of foundation heaven builds on. You may feel like you are waiting, but in truth, you are becoming. And what you are becoming will soon require everything you are learning now. Stay present. Stay open. Stay gentle with yourself. Because what God and His angels are doing in this moment is not small. It is preparing your heart for peace that lasts, clarity that stays, and a presence you will feel more strongly than ever before. Do not move away. What comes next will bring understanding to everything you have been questioning silently. Stay with this. What you are about to hear is not said often, because it changes how you see everything you have been calling a problem. Right now, heaven is not fixing your life. It is fortifying your heart. That is why answers feel slow, but strength feels deeper. That is why situations remain, but you feel different inside them. God is not removing every challenge because He is removing your fear of them. There is a moment in every life when faith stops being emotional and starts becoming unshakable. You are standing inside that moment. This is where belief is no longer based on what you receive, but on who you trust. And that shift is powerful. Here is something surprising. The heaviness you felt was not meant to crush you. It was meant to slow you down enough to hear what matters. When life moves fast, the soul goes quiet. When life pauses, the soul speaks. That pause you did not ask for was not a setback. It was an invitation. An invitation to notice how much you have been carrying alone. An invitation to release the pressure of having to be strong all the time. An invitation to let God do what only God can do. You were never meant to figure everything out. You were meant to walk forward one step at a time, trusting that the path appears as you move. That is how faith works. Not by showing you the whole road, but by lighting the next step. Right now, heaven is reminding you of something you forgot. You are allowed to rest without quitting. You are allowed to pause without failing. You are allowed to trust without understanding. The world taught you that progress must be loud and visible. God teaches you that real growth happens quietly, deeply, invisibly. Look at your heart now. It is softer, more aware, more honest. You notice what drains you. You notice what brings peace. You notice when something no longer aligns. That awareness is not weakness. It is wisdom forming. This season is teaching you discernment. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every worry deserves a place in your mind. You are learning to choose peace on purpose. And heaven is honoring that choice. There is something important happening beneath the surface. You are being prepared to carry blessings without losing yourself. To receive answers without becoming prideful. To walk into peace without fear of losing it. That kind of preparation takes time. And it takes trust. That is why you feel stretched. But stretching does not mean breaking. It means growing beyond old limits. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming more of who you were always meant to be. Calm, grounded, rooted in faith, anchored in gratitude, steady in trust. This is not the end of your questions. But it is the beginning of your clarity. Stay present, because the next realization will bring comfort to places in your heart you did not even know needed healing. And once you feel that, you will understand why this season had to happen exactly this way. Stay here. What is happening now is gentle, but it is powerful. There is a moment when God stops speaking through events and starts speaking directly to the heart. This is that moment. Right now, something is settling inside you. Not excitement, not emotion, but assurance. The kind that does not fade when the video ends. The kind that stays when you are alone. The kind that reminds you that you are held, even when life feels uncertain. Here is a revelation many never hear. God does not calm storms first. He calms the heart so the storm loses its power. That is why you are feeling steadier even though circumstances have not fully changed. Your peace is being built from the inside outward. And once peace is built there, nothing outside can take it. You are not meant to live anxious about the future. You are meant to live anchored in the present. Trust does not mean everything will go your way. Trust means you know you will be guided no matter what comes. This season is teaching you how to let go without fear. How to release control without losing direction. How to believe without demanding proof. That is sacred growth. Something important is also happening around this message. You are not the only one who needed to hear this. There are hearts connected to yours that are quietly searching for the same comfort. Sometimes faith grows stronger when it is shared. Sometimes clarity deepens when thoughts are spoken. Sometimes encouragement multiplies when you let others walk with you. If this message resonates, let it move beyond just listening. Let it live. Let it echo. Let it reach where it is needed. There is power in staying connected to reminders like this. Power in returning to words that ground you. Power in choosing to surround yourself with messages that strengthen faith instead of feeding fear. This is how trust becomes a lifestyle, not just a feeling. Remember this truth. God has never rushed your life. He has guided it. Every delay refined you. Every pause protected you. Every quiet moment prepared you. And you are still being led. Still being covered. Still being shaped with intention. Take a breath. Let gratitude rise naturally. Let trust rest where fear used to live. Let faith become calm instead of heavy. This season is important because it is changing how you carry life. And once you walk forward with this peace, you will never move the same way again. Stay close to what nourishes your spirit. Stay open to what reminds you of truth. Stay grounded in faith, gratitude, and trust. What you are becoming now will carry you beautifully into what comes next. Remain here a little longer. What is being revealed now is subtle, yet life-shaping. There comes a moment when God stops correcting your path and starts confirming it. You are in that moment. That quiet sense of reassurance you feel is not imagination. It is recognition. Your soul recognizes truth even before your mind understands it. This season has been asking you to unlearn urgency, to stop measuring your life by speed, to stop comparing your journey with anyone else's. Because heaven does not work on pressure. It works on purpose. Here is something most people never realize. Some blessings do not arrive loudly. They arrive as peace, as clarity, as the sudden absence of fear. And those are the blessings that change everything. You have been protected from things you thought you wanted, redirected from paths that looked promising but would have drained you, removed from spaces where your spirit would have slowly dimmed. This was not loss. This was mercy. God has been guiding you away from what would have cost you your peace, even when it hurt, even when it confused you, even when you questioned it. You are now beginning to see why. There is a strength forming in you that does not need approval, a confidence that does not depend on outcomes, a faith that does not collapse when answers are delayed. That kind of faith is rare, and it is precious. This is why this season feels important, because you are learning how to live without fear directing your choices, how to move forward without anxiety pushing you, how to trust without needing constant reassurance. This changes how you love, how you decide, how you respond. Heaven has been patient with your questions, gentle with your doubts, present through your silence. And now, it is reminding you of something essential. You are allowed to feel calm even before everything is resolved. You are allowed to feel grateful even while waiting. You are allowed to trust even when the future is not clear. That is not denial. That is faith in its purest form. Notice how your heart feels lighter now. Notice how your breathing has slowed. Notice how your thoughts are quieter. This is alignment. This is what it feels like when you stop resisting and start receiving. Not things, but peace, guidance, assurance. This is not the end of your journey, but it is a turning point. From striving to trusting, from fear to faith, from exhaustion to calm strength. Carry this with you. Return to it when life feels loud again. Because what you have received here is not temporary comfort. It is a reminder of who walks with you, always. And that truth will continue to steady you, long after this moment passes. Stay present. What unfolds now is a quiet truth that reshapes how you carry your days. God is not asking you to become stronger. He is showing you that you already are. The strength you have been searching for was never missing. It was being revealed slowly, layer by layer, through moments you thought were ordinary, through patience you did not notice, through restraint you did not celebrate, through endurance you did not label as faith. But heaven saw it all. Here is a revelation that changes perspective. Peace is not something you reach after life becomes easy. Peace is something you choose before life agrees with you, and you have been choosing it more often than you realize. Every time you paused instead of reacting, every time you forgave without an apology, every time you trusted without evidence, that was faith in action. That was growth without noise. God has been working in the background of your life, quietly aligning things you cannot yet see. Removing obstacles before you reach them, softening hearts before you encounter them, preparing outcomes before you ask for them. This is why some worries faded without explanation, why some fears no longer hold the same weight, why your heart feels steadier even when circumstances are unresolved. You are being carried. Not rushed, not pressured, not tested beyond what you can hold. Carried. There is something important heaven wants you to remember. You are not meant to live constantly alert, bracing for the next challenge. You are meant to live anchored, trusting that whatever comes will not come alone. God walks ahead of you, and He walks beside you. That is why surrender feels lighter now, why letting go does not feel like loss, why trust feels calmer, not dramatic. You are no longer fighting to prove faith. You are living inside it. This season has refined your vision. You see what matters. You sense when something is off. You recognize peace when it enters. That discernment is a gift, and it will guide you well. Nothing about this journey has been accidental. Not the waiting, not the uncertainty, not even the silence. All of it has shaped a heart that can receive without fear and release without regret. You are learning how to walk gently with God, not ahead of Him, not behind Him, but with Him, and that changes everything. Hold on to this calm. Let it steady your thoughts. Let it soften your expectations. Let it remind you that you are deeply supported, even when nothing seems to be happening, because something is happening, quietly, faithfully, beautifully, and what comes next will feel lighter, clearer, and more peaceful than what you have left behind. Stay with this moment. There is one more truth that needs to settle into your heart, and once it does, you will never experience faith the same way again. God is not waiting for you to become perfect. He is walking with you as you become honest. Honest about your fears. Honest about your limits. Honest about your need for guidance. That honesty is what opened this season for you. You stopped pretending you had everything under control. And the moment you did, heaven stepped closer. Here is something most people never realize. Faith is not proven in moments of certainty. Faith is revealed in moments of quiet trust, when nothing dramatic is happening, yet your heart remains steady. That is where you are now. You are no longer chasing signs. You are recognizing presence. You are no longer demanding answers. You are resting in assurance. This is deep faith, the kind that does not panic when plans shift, the kind that does not collapse when timelines change, the kind that stays grounded. Even when outcomes are unknown, God has been gently teaching you how to live without fear deciding everything, how to move without anxiety driving your steps, how to trust without holding your breath. That is why your reactions are softer now, why your thoughts are clearer, why your heart feels more spacious. You are no longer carrying tomorrow's weight today. You are learning to receive strength daily, moment by moment. And that is exactly how peace stays. This season has not been about adding more to your life. It has been about removing what was heavy, unnecessary pressure, unspoken guilt, fear you inherited from past experiences. You are lighter now because you released what was never meant to stay. God has been patient as you learned this, never forcing, never rushing, always present, even when you questioned, even when you doubted, even when you grew tired. You were never abandoned in those moments. You were accompanied. And now, heaven is reminding you of something powerful. You are safe to trust again, safe to hope again, safe to believe again, not because nothing will go wrong, but because you will never face anything alone. Carry this truth forward. Let it guide your choices. Let it calm your reactions. Let it anchor your days. Because the faith forming in you now is not fragile. It is steady, quiet, unmovable. And this faith will carry you gently into everything that comes next. Remain here. What you are receiving now is not new information. It is remembered truth. There are moments when God does not introduce something unfamiliar, but gently reminds you of what your soul has always known. That is what is happening now. You are remembering that you were never meant to carry life alone. You were never designed to figure everything out before moving forward. You were never expected to be unshaken, only willing. Here is a truth that quietly changes everything. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is choosing trust while fear is still present. And you have been doing that more than you give yourself credit for. Every day you kept going. Every time you chose calm instead of panic. Every moment you returned to gratitude instead of resentment. That was faith in motion. God has been watching how gently you handle pressure now. How you pause before reacting. How you breathe before responding. How you listen to your heart more closely than before. This is not coincidence. This is maturity of the Spirit. There was a time when you prayed for change around you. Now God has changed how you stand within things. That is deeper. That is lasting. This season has taught you something priceless. You do not need everything to make sense to feel secure. You do not need answers to feel supported. You do not need certainty to feel peace. Peace is no longer dependent on outcomes. It lives inside you now. That is why chaos feels distant. That is why urgency feels unnecessary. That is why your heart feels anchored. God has been reshaping your relationship with time, teaching you that rushing does not speed up purpose, teaching you that waiting does not delay destiny, teaching you that trust is strongest when it is calm. There is a quiet confidence forming in you, not loud, not demanding, but steady, a confidence that knows you are guided, that knows you are protected, that knows you are seen, even when nothing is announced, even when nothing is visible, even when nothing changes outwardly. This is how faith becomes a way of living, not just believing. You no longer need dramatic moments to feel close to God. You feel closeness in stillness, in silence, in simple awareness. That closeness will not leave you. Carry it into your days. Let it soften your worries. Let it slow your pace. Let it remind you that you are held, deeply and constantly. Because what God and His angels have been building in you is not temporary comfort. It is enduring peace. And that peace will quietly guide you forward, step by step, into everything that is meant for you. Stay still for this. What unfolds now is not meant to impress you. It is meant to settle you. There is a moment when faith stops asking questions and starts recognizing truth without explanation. You are touching that moment now. God has been quietly shifting your inner world while your outer world stayed the same. That is why this feels deep instead of dramatic. That is why it feels real. Here is a revelation that surprises many. The most powerful change in a person's life often happens when nothing visible changes at all. When the heart stops fighting. When the mind stops racing. When trust replaces tension. That is not stagnation. That is alignment. You are no longer waiting for permission to feel okay. You are allowing peace to exist before conditions improve. This is not something you were taught. It is something you learned through experience. Through days that tested you. Through nights that humbled you. Through moments where all you could do was keep breathing and keep believing. God has been honoring that quiet endurance. Not by rushing outcomes, but by deepening your stability. There is something different about you now. You respond instead of react. You observe instead of assume. You trust your inner calm more than external noise. This is not accidental. This is the result of walking closely with God without realizing how close you were. Faith has become less about words and more about posture. The posture of surrender. The posture of patience. The posture of openness. You are no longer trying to control tomorrow. You are learning to meet today fully. And in doing so, you are discovering that today already holds enough grace. God has been teaching you that fear loses its power when it is no longer fed by imagination. That worry weakens when it is not rehearsed. That peace strengthens when it is welcomed early. This is wisdom settling in. Not loud, not urgent, but steady. There will still be decisions, still unknowns, still moments of pause, but you will walk through them differently now, with breath instead of panic, with trust instead of pressure, with gratitude instead of resistance. This is the kind of faith that lasts, not because life becomes perfect, but because you no longer need perfection to feel secure. Stay with this understanding. Let it become familiar. Because once faith reaches this depth, it does not leave. It becomes how you live. And from this place, whatever comes next will meet a heart that is ready, grounded, and unafraid. Stay with this final moment. What settles now is not emotion. It is knowing. There is a difference. Emotion rises and falls. Knowing stays. God has not been preparing your circumstances. He has been preparing you, so that no matter what unfolds next, you remain steady within it. This is the revelation few ever reach. Faith is not meant to rescue you from life. It is meant to root you so deeply that life cannot uproot you. And that is what has happened here. You are no longer searching for signs to feel safe. You are no longer waiting for permission to feel at peace. You are no longer measuring your worth by outcomes. You are anchored. There was a time when uncertainty felt threatening. Now it feels open, like space instead of pressure, like possibility instead of fear. That shift did not come from answers. It came from trust. God has taught you how to stand calmly in the unknown. That is strength. That is maturity. That is faith completed, not faith questioned. Here is the once, in, a, lifetime truth. When peace becomes natural, guidance becomes clear. You will notice it in small ways. Choices will feel simpler. Reactions will soften. Your body will relax before your mind catches up. This is how alignment feels. Not loud confirmation. Quiet confidence. You may not realize it yet, but your presence will change rooms now. Your calm will steady others. Your patience will speak louder than words. Your faith will be felt, not announced. This is why this season mattered. Not to impress you, but to transform you. God has not removed every challenge, but He has removed your fear of them. And that changes everything. From here, life will continue. Days will come and go. Plans will shift. Moments will surprise you. But you will move through them differently. With trust instead of tension. With gratitude instead of grasping. With faith instead of force. Hold this. Return to it whenever the world feels loud again. Because what has been placed inside you now cannot be taken away. It is calm that lasts. Trust that holds. Faith that does not shake. And that is the presence you were meant to carry forward into every next moment of your life. Remain with this stillness. There is one more layer being revealed, and it is quieter than all the others. God has not only been shaping your faith, He has been reshaping how you see yourself. There was a time you doubted your strength, a time you questioned your value when things did not work out, a time you thought faith meant never feeling tired. That belief has gently fallen away. Now you understand something deeper. Faith does not mean you never feel weak. It means you no longer judge yourself for feeling human. This is a powerful shift. Heaven has been teaching you compassion for your own heart. The same compassion you so easily give to others. The same patience you extend when someone else struggles. You are learning to offer that to yourself. And that is healing. Here is a truth that surprises many. God does not rush people who are learning to love themselves the way He loves them. Because once that love settles, fear loses its grip. Shame loses its voice. Comparison loses its power. You are no longer asking, "Why am I like this?" You are beginning to say, "This is who I am becoming." That changes everything. Your past no longer defines you. It informs you. Your mistakes no longer accuse you. They instruct you. Your waiting no longer frustrates you. It strengthens you. This season has been about integration, bringing together faith and rest, trust and boundaries, gratitude and honesty. You are no longer splitting yourself to survive. You are becoming whole. Notice how you no longer chase validation the way you once did. Notice how silence feels less lonely. Notice how being alone feels safer. This is not withdrawal. This is grounding. God has been anchoring you so deeply that external waves no longer pull you apart. You are learning to live from the inside out. From conviction, not pressure. From peace, not performance. From trust, not control. That is freedom. This message is not asking you to change anything right now. It is simply reminding you of what has already changed. You are steadier. You are kinder to yourself. You are more aware. You are more rooted. And you are still being gently guided. Carry this awareness forward. Let it influence how you speak to yourself, how you rest, how you decide. Because the faith growing in you now is not fragile. It is mature. It knows how to hold both hope and uncertainty without breaking. And that kind of faith will continue to shape your life quietly, faithfully, beautifully, long after this moment passes. Stay here for this final layer. What is happening now is not movement. It is settling. God has been doing something rare in you. He has been teaching you how to remain at peace even when nothing is being explained. Most people only feel close to God when answers arrive. You are learning to feel close even when answers are still forming. That is deep trust. Here is a truth few ever hear. God does not always speak to change your situation. Sometimes He speaks to change how safely you live inside it. And that is what has happened here. You are no longer living with your heart braced for impact. You are no longer expecting disappointment as protection. You are no longer holding joy at a distance just in case. You have softened. And that softness is not weakness. It is security. This season has quietly returned something to you. Your ability to feel without fear, to hope without panic, to trust without guarding. Every corner of your heart. You did not lose this before. You hid it to survive. Now it is safe to bring it back. God has been reminding you that you are not fragile. You are resilient, but not the hard kind, the grounded kind, the kind that bends, breathes, and remains whole. Notice how you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. Notice how approval feels less urgent. Notice how your worth feels steadier, less negotiable. That is not confidence learned from success. That is identity remembered through faith. You are not being pushed into your future. You are being gently carried toward it, step by step, day by day, with enough grace for each moment. Nothing has been wasted, not the waiting, not the uncertainty, not the quiet days. They shaped a heart that can receive what comes next without fear. This is the final reminder. You are allowed to live calmly. You are allowed to trust deeply. You are allowed to believe that you are guided even when the path unfolds slowly. What you carry now is not just faith. It is peace with faith. And that peace will continue to walk with you, steady and faithful, into every season ahead. Stay with this awareness. What unfolds now is a quiet confirmation that changes how you move forward from this point on. God has not been slowly leading you to a finish line. He has been teaching you how to walk without fear of the distance. That is the shift. You no longer measure your life by how far you have to go. You measure it by how grounded you are where you stand. This is rare understanding. Here is the revelation that surprises most hearts. The moment you stop waiting to arrive, you start living fully. And God has been guiding you into that freedom. You are no longer postponing peace until everything makes sense. You are allowing peace to exist now, before clarity, before certainty, before outcomes. That is not passive. That is powerful. This season has changed how you listen. You no longer search outside yourself first. You pause. You feel. You discern. You trust the quiet knowing that rises without panic. That is guidance maturing inside you. God has been training you to recognize His presence without needing constant reassurance, to feel supported without signs, to feel held without explanation. That kind of faith does not collapse under pressure. It steadies others. You may not notice it yet, but your calm is becoming influential. Your presence is becoming reassuring. People will feel safer around you without knowing why. That is not something you learned. It is something that grew through surrender. You have stopped fighting the pace of your life. And in doing so, you stopped fighting yourself. This is the freedom heaven wanted for you. Not a life without challenge, but a heart that does not tighten when challenges appear. From this place, decisions will feel cleaner. Boundaries will feel natural. Rest will feel earned without guilt. Trust will feel steady instead of dramatic. This is what it means to live aligned. Not perfect, not untouched, but anchored. God is not asking you to hold on to this message. He is inviting you to live from it, to let it shape how you wake up, how you respond, how you release what no longer serves your peace. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping deeper into what has already been forming within you. And from here, whatever unfolds next will meet a heart that is ready, open, and unafraid. This is not the end of the message. It is the beginning of a way of living that carries faith quietly, confidently, and without fear. Stay here. What unfolds now is a sacred realization that settles deeper than thought. God has not been moving you away from who you were. He has been bringing you back to who you always were beneath fear, pressure, and expectation. This is the return. There was a version of you before worry became familiar, before overthinking felt normal, before you learned to brace yourself for disappointment. That version was not naive. It was trusting. And God has been gently restoring that trust, not by removing reality, but by strengthening your foundation. Here is a revelation that changes perspective completely. You were never falling behind. You were shedding layers that could not follow you forward. What felt like delay was actually release. What felt like loss was actually lightening. What felt like silence was actually protection. God has been clearing space in you. Space for peace that stays. Space for faith that does not shake. Space for gratitude that is not dependent on circumstances. You are beginning to notice how little you need now to feel okay. How fewer explanations satisfy you. How stillness feels full instead of empty. This is not detachment. This is presence. You are no longer living ahead of your life. You are living inside it. Fully, gently, aware. That is where God meets you most clearly. Not in urgency, not in fear, but in calm attention. This season has not given you louder faith. It has given you quieter confidence. You do not need to announce belief. You embody it. You do not need to chase reassurance. You carry it. You do not need to force trust. You live it. This is the kind of faith that does not disappear when circumstances change, because it is not built on circumstances. It is built on relationship. God has been teaching you how to rest without guilt, how to move without rushing, how to hope without pressure. That is freedom many search for but never find. You are living it now. From this place, your choices will feel cleaner, your reactions softer, your direction clearer, not because life becomes predictable, but because you have learned how to remain steady inside unpredictability. Hold this awareness. Return to it when the world feels loud again, because what has formed in you is not temporary peace. It is lasting alignment. And from this alignment, everything that comes next will meet a heart that is open, grounded, and quietly strong. This is the gift of this season, and it will continue to guide you faithfully, gently, and without fear, wherever your path unfolds next.